Hello and welcome to this easygoing September slow flow class. So we're going to begin lying in downward facing Shavasana. So just simply lie on the front, and if it's not comfortable for you, then maybe just prop yourself up with blankets or even just sit. But this is quite a nice soothing pose to begin in. So just see if you can rest the side of the head onto the mat. Maybe make a little pillow with the hands. And just breathe nice and easy. And then when you feel ready, just slowly bend one leg and reach behind for the foot. And if you can't quite reach the foot, then just let that leg hang in the air. And we're going to stretch out the quads without any worry about balance, just giving it a nice old stretch out. And then we'll swap sides, so use an exhale to lower that first leg, and a nice big inhale to bend that opposite leg. And again, if your hand doesn't quite reach, just bend the knee and just let that foot hover in the air. And just see if you can keep those smooth, steady breaths flowing in and out. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to release that second leg, and then we're going to bend both knees together. So we're not going to reach behind for the feet to begin with, we're just going to bend at the knees. And then we're going to come up into a Sphinx shape with the arms. So we're going to take the wrists underneath the shoulders, the arms like train tracks, and we're going to give that front stretch a nice slow stretch, and the backs of the legs a nice stretch. And we're going to do this without any strain, so take the gaze forward, let the shoulder blades soften, and let the jaw relax. We hold a lot of tension in the jaw, so see if you can maybe make a little smile, reach the corners of your mouth, and breathe slow and steady. We're just going to stay here for a few more deep breaths, and maybe you'll feel that belly gently pressing onto the ground, onto the mat as you inhale. Maybe as you exhale, this slow stretch feels a little easier. And then we're going to lower the legs slowly as you can, taking the feet as wide as the hips, even a little wider, and pointing the toes to the corners of the mat, melting those shoulder blades down the back, and breathing nice and easy. So these slow stretches to the front of the body. And then we're going to use an exhale to lower the upper body gently down. And we're going to turn to the opposite cheek that you rested on before, back in your downward facing Shavasana. Feel the belly gently pressing against the mat, and feel it soften as you exhale. So this is a great practice to do when you feel a little tired, but you need a good stretch. And then we're going to think about making our way out of this pose. So we're going to take the hands under the shoulders, big inhale to table pose. And we're going to tuck the toes under, send the hips back, and we're going to come into a child's pose and a toe stretch. So I like to use two poses at the same time if we're taking things nice and easy. So we're stretching the soles of the feet, and if you've been on your feet all day, this is a nice stretch. And we're stretching out the spine in our child's pose. And we're going to slow the breathing nice and steady as we can. And we're going to think now that maybe we'll start to move into a table pose. So we'll use the next inhale to come up to table pose, taking those wrists under the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. And we'll do some cat-cow. So as we inhale, we'll lower the belly, let it soften to the ground, lift the heart, send the sitting bones behind you. Melt the shoulder blades down the back. Breathing nice and easy. And then we'll move into a cat pose by rounding the back, bringing the chin into the chest, pressing into the palms and the shins. Feeling that stretch across the shoulders and the upper back. And then we're going to take it nice and easy and roll through both of these poses. So as we inhale, we're going to come into that cow pose. And as we exhale into that cat pose. A few more rounds. Slow and steady wins the race. And then we're gently going to sit back onto the heels, coming into hero pose. So if this feels uncomfortable, you could put a blanket or a cushion under the sitting bones. And if it really doesn't feel comfortable, come to a different seating position. We're going to take the hands onto the thighs, chin parallel to the floor, shoulders relaxing, breathing nice and deep. Giving those knees and those shins and those thighs a nice stretch. Keeping those shoulders stacked above the hips. Sipping in those nice deep inhales. And releasing those slow, steady exhales. Maybe noticing those moments of stillness between the inhale, between the exhale. And then we're going to think about moving in a moment. And we're going to come to a table pose. Slowly does it. And then we're going to set back into our puppy pose. So we walk the palms a little further forward and we melt the heart down into the ground. Tuck the toes under, stack those hips above the knees, stretching out the spine, the back, the shoulders. It's also known as anahata or melting heart pose. So we simply imagine that we're melting the heart down into the ground. And if you've been sat for long periods of time, this is a really nice one to get into all those parts that can get a little bit stuck and sore and full of tension, that start to tug on other parts of the body. So see if you can take those nice deep breaths and send the breath into all those spaces that are opening up. And as we've opened up all these spaces, we're going to go a little bit stronger now. We're going to come into our dolphin pose. So we're going to inhale to come up. And we're going to take the elbows down to the ground so they're under the shoulders. We take the palms, clasp the hands together, tuck the toes. And this might be enough. Or we could lift the hips up, straighten the legs as much as we comfortably can. And see if we can take that nice stretch into our dolphin pose. So it's a bit like the downward facing dog pose. But we're getting the shoulders a little more here. And we've prepped with all the other poses to get ready for this. Then we're going to lower to the knees. Sit the hips onto the heels. Take the hands by the feet for a nice restorative child's pose. Calm and steady breath. And then ever so slowly, we're going to release the hands forward, Coming up onto tented fingers, so onto the fingertips, so we feel that stretch in those arms and in those shoulders. So it's an active child's pose now. And notice those subtle differences in the shapes of these poses and how that affects the breath. And then as you slowly inhale, palms come down. We're going to lift the hips up and come to our downward facing dog, feet hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart. We're going to bend the knees, walk the dog, gaze to the knees or the navel, and take a nice big deep breath. And then we'll slowly tiptoe the feet towards the hands and come to ragdoll pose, where the knees are nice and soft and the upper body is loose and heavy. The crown of the head is pointing down, the arms are dangling, maybe touching the floor, maybe hovering in the air. Sitting bones softening to the sky. And ever so gently, we're going to just step one foot back and lower the back knee. So it doesn't matter which leg, we'll do both sides. So the knee that's forward, we're going to stack the knee over the ankle. We're going to release, and then we're going to come upright. So shoulders stacked above the hips. We're going to soften the hips, rest the hand on the thigh. Lift the heart. Inhale the arms up alongside the ears, interlace the fingers. We're going to lean over to one side and then the other side. Then we're going to float the hands down by the side. We're going to sink the hips back, torso forward for a runner's stretch. So we're going to melt the torso over that front leg with a nice soft knee. And just stay here for some nice slow deep breath. And then we're going to step that front leg back and find child's pose again, sitting the hips onto the heels, maybe noticing those subtle differences in the right side and the left side, depending on which leg you step forward with first. Breathing full and deep. As you inhale up to all fours, we'll tuck the toes, make our way to downward dog. Let's hang out here in our downward dog, moving the legs or maybe keeping them still. And then we'll float the other leg up to the ceiling into a three-legged dog. And then we'll lower that leg. And we'll inhale the opposite leg up now, three-legged dog. And slowly lower. Tiptoe the hands towards the feet, come into your ragdoll pose again. And remember which foot you stepped back with last time, because we're going to repeat the opposite leg now. So stepping the opposite leg back, lower into our low lunge. Oh, I did the wrong side, so I'm going to, so maybe you forgot, so you'll notice when you move. Sink the hips down, just let everything soften. Then bring the palms up to the thighs, shoulders stack above the hips. It might be nice just to stay here, gazing forward. Or on an inhale, float those arms up in the air, interlace the fingers. Lean gently over to one side, and then the other side. sway in nice and easy. Taking the hands either side of the foot, tucking the back toes, lifting that torso over the front leg, and just staying here for some nice, slow, steady breath. And we're going to soften the hips back to the heels. And we're back to our child's pose. Maybe taking the arms out in front or by the feet. Just choose a position that feels comfortable. Maybe you want to move, maybe you want to do the same thing. Nice, slow, steady breath. And as you inhale, slowly up to all fours, tuck the toes, downward dog. Tiptoeing those feet towards those hands. Taking the feet nice and wide. And we're going to come down into a squat pose now. So maybe you can squat nice and low, maybe staying into a high squat. Just coming into a position that's comfortable for you. Maybe the whole of the foot is down. Maybe you're on the balls of the feet. And breathe. Nice and deep into those hips. And then we're going to release the hands to the ground. Take a little bit of weight into the hands as we ease our way down onto the floor. And then we're going to take the soles of the feet together, slide the toes forward till we create a diamond shape. And we're going to soften the torso over those legs for a butterfly stretch. So the hands might be around the feet, or you might want to take the hands underneath the feet. And just settling into this pose of the butterfly. Just letting those exhales take you a little deeper into this shape. And remembering at any time if you feel pain or discomfort to come out of these poses. And then slowly on an inhale, bring the body gently upright. Take the hands a little way behind you, lower onto your back, bring the knees into the chest. Wrap the hands around the knees, rock side to side, or make some slow circles. Massaging that lower back. And it should feel really nice, so take your time. And then we're going to take the soles of the feet gently onto the ground. Hands by the sides. We're going to take some pelvic rocks. So as you inhale, send the pelvis forward so you could put your hand under your lower back. And as you exhale, press the lower back into the ground. And that might feel really nice. Maybe you'd like to stay doing this. Or as you inhale, slowly bring one knee towards you. Take the hand around the shins. Lengthen out the other leg. And inhale that leg up to the ceiling, the one that you bent. I like to give you the choice which to take. Sometimes we want right and left. And then just breathe into the back of that leg. Maybe flex the foot of the outstretched leg. Tuck the chin in so there's no strain on the neck. And just let gravity do its work here. These slow stretches can sometimes be more challenging than moving fast because we like to move. But when we just be here in these shapes, they actually can be more challenging to practice, which makes slow and steady breaths an easier way to approach them. Inhale, bend that knee into the chest. Take the sole of that foot to the ground and then inhale, bring the opposite knee towards you. Straighten out that bent knee so the leg is nice and straight, maybe the foot's flexed as you take that bent knee up to the ceiling. And again, just hang in here, let gravity and space that the breath creates do the work for you. Check that the chin is comfortable, the neck's relaxed. And bend the knee slowly of the foot in the air, the leg in the air. And nice and gently ease the other knee towards you. And then take the soles of the feet together. Let the knees fall out to the side, arms over the head for a sleeping butterfly. And just allowing again gravity and breath to do the hard work for you. Slow and steady. And as the seasons change, in September we say farewell to the summer and start to embrace all that autumn has to offer. And these butterfly poses, these poses of transformation, they're a nice physical way to approach that mindset of change. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. So we go with the flow, creating our inner peace with that breath. Those inhales and exhales always available to you during periods of change and challenge, where we need to find that steady base. It's always there. And taking the hands around the thighs, we're going to guide the knees gently towards each other. We're going to come slowly to happy baby pose. So the knees fall out to the outside of the ribs into the direction of the armpits. And we bend the knees, send the soles of the feet to the ceiling. Hands around the calves, the thighs, or the insides or the outsides of the feet. And the back of the head stays in contact with the ground. And the sacrum stays in contact with the ground. And we send that nice sensation of peace to the back body that's grounded and earthed, supported. Then from here, we slowly make our way into our relaxation pose of choice. Finding the pose that will allow stillness. Taking your time, maybe putting on extra layers or taking a blanket under the head or on top of the body. And just finding that pose of peace and rest, restoration, reset, and relax. Relax the feet and the toes. Relax the legs and the hips. Relax the back, the shoulders, the arms, the hands. Relax the head, the face. Relax the chest, the abdomen, and the whole of the body. Letting go of any effort in the breath. And I'm going to leave you here for a little while longer. And when you hear the singing bowl, begin to think about moving. Slowly now, just move the hands onto the belly. Feel the breath. As you deepen the inhales, lengthen the exhales. And maybe you'd like to move into a stretch. Maybe you'd like to roll the knees in towards you. And then whenever you're ready, roll over to one side. Make a little pillow with your hands. Very gently ease your way to a comfortable seated position, resting the hands on the knees or the thighs, closing your eyes or softening your gaze, maybe swaying gently side to side to find your center point. Coming to stillness. As you inhale, floating the hands gently over the head, the arms lift with the inhale. And as you exhale, we take those palms into the heart center. Take a nice deep breath. Let it go. 2 more like that. When you're ready, opening your eyes. Thank you for joining me in this slow September practice. Namaste.